What is your one super practical bit of advice to our listeners? It's something they could go and do today, tomorrow, the next day that might help them be a bit more innovative, get a bit more work joy, push the boundaries a little bit. Tell us your advice.
I'm going to have two. I'm not even going to ask permission. I'm going to ask for forgiveness afterwards.
Forgiveness. You don't even need forgiveness. Just go do it. I'm not a massive rule follower. So when I say one or three, I'm like, just go for what you really feel like.
The first one, if you categorize it, let's say this is a knowledge and growth one. Swap Facebook just for books. I mean, I've learned this more recently because I've written a book and realized that lots of people have bought it, and then I say, "Oh, how do you find it?" Haven't quite really. Actually, I haven't read it at all yet. I haven't even opened it because I'm too busy. And most people are too busy to read. And I know from so many people in my own experience, the more you read, the more helpful you can be in the work context if you're prepared to do the interpretation piece from some of the books. But
yeah,
it's just pulls your brain, your heart in different directions. And I think we're so worryingly drawn to our phones when there's nothing going on. We just pick up our phone because we need some input. I just think there's better input than a lot of what we look at. So I know it's a bit boring, but if we want more joy, if we want bigger ideas, if we want to be able to dream better, if we want to show up and do better work, there's so much great stuff out there in so many books. Anyway, that's kind of a fairly obvious one. I think I was thinking about this a lot, and there's all sorts of tools and tricks and techniques you can do for innovation. But one of the things, and this is really the topic of my next book, is there's no mystery around the tools that people use to do great innovation. It's all in books. It's just, you just got to learn it and do it. What's less in books is the culture and climate in which people are drawn into wanting to do more discovery. And I think you nailed it earlier when you said, we need to rehumanize the workplace. I think one of the most powerful things we can do in our team context, in our work context, to rehumanize is actually to prioritize kindness and making a choice. Just choose. I'm going to be the kindest person I know, even with people that I struggle with. I think that would have a massive, I've seen it, have a transformational impact on the world around you. And it's like I don't know, a virus is the wrong word, something to spread, particularly now.
Especially right now.
But it's, if people are desperate, I think, for kindness, because they, particularly with COVID, and I'm not saying it's anybody's fault, but we've often failed to treat people with dignity and kindness and care. And you're a number at the end of a computer. That's probably too harsh, but people, I think, are aching to be. I think this is one of the reasons people want to get back in the office, because they miss the relational connection. And part of that is someone being kind, because that automatically creates a magnetism in you to want to connect with that person more deeply. There's a whole section in the book that I call kindred connections, which is, I think, is at the heart of a really healthy culture. And for me, a lot of that is be kind, be nice to people. And it sounds, I know a lot of people listening to me going, yeah, fingers down the throat, sounds too soft and soppy. Yeah, well, I strongly disagree, because I think that's what most people want more of right now, is just be nice and kind to people. It's not to say let people off the hook for things that need to be held to account for, but let's be more human.
Yeah, I am going to give that one a massive thumbs up. I think kindness is the best way to get things done, actually. And it's that choice to be kind. And I also think that people misinterpret kindness as being like, you can't be tough. But I think you can be, sometimes having a tough conversation with someone is being kind to them, because it's helping them understand what's going on. And I think if you consider it kindness as the approach versus the outcome, it's like, what do you do here? You take the kindest, most loveliest possible way of thinking about another human being and what their situation might be, and have empathy for them, and then everything can stem from there in a really good way. And the other thing I was going to say to you, you're talking about kind of like it's spreading it around, and we don't want it to be called like a virus. Is the other day I was talking about how similar thing when I think about work joy is if you are able to work on yourself and get some work joy in your life, you will be better able to spread it. And I was calling it, I was trying to think about it's a bit like osmosis. It just happens. You don't necessarily even think about doing it. But when you are feeling the joy, other people feel it too, because you come at it with a positive angle, all those kind of things. So I decided to call it joymosis.
I like that.
Yeah, so that's what I've decided to call it now. So, and I think that kindness has the same kind of thing. If it passes on throughout the day, right? If you have a kind conversation with somebody, they will probably pay it forward because they'll be in a better
Yeah,
mood because of it.
it's catching, I'm sure of it, and it's transformational.
Yeah, love it.